I'm not real big on Brevin.
It's a bad one. It's a bad one. I mean, we started off bad. We're going to have some viewers come in, and they're probably going to share our anguish. And there's going to be a lot of fire J-Rob in all of this. I'm sure. There's going to be a lot of angry people. Not only have the Tennessee Titans missed out on many wide receivers, but now they've missed out on some of the top tier tight ends. So we're going to get through it here. It's like everybody come in together, and we will share in the misery together. Put it into the chat. I'm trying my best to get your chat stuff up there. We are live. Oh my God, guys. We, in the last 3 picks, since we went on break, maybe we shouldn't have gone on break, but since we went on break, Hunter Long. Oh my gosh, I just can't even get with it. Okay. Breaking news, the Tennessee Titans have traded with the Green Bay Packers, so they are trading down. Green Bay is on the clock as of this writing. So there's a lot going on. Tommy Trimble's gone. Hunter Long's gone. And Diami Brown's gone. And now we've traded back with the Packers. We don't know the terms of the trade yet. Holy shit. What is going on? Let's first off talk this. You've lost out on a lot of playmakers if you're the Tennessee Titans. A lot of playmakers on tight end, a lot of playmakers on the wide receiver. Jonathan Boren, I mean, they took Dylan Radins, which is the worst last name ever because it's not how it's spelled. And now they miss on all these playmakers. Now, in hindsight, Dylan Radins, take your victory lap. I feel like you should take a victory lap.
I everything that I could say, I have already said. You set yourself up for you better be good with what you're rolling with if you're taking Radins at that point, because you're playing so many picks up for risk at that point. You just not really sure. And now I'm curious. What's happened?
Oh my God. We traded with the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers have selected Amari Rodgers, wide receiver, Clemson.
This is a team that is perfectly okay rolling in with Josh Reynolds. They said they ended the season the way it ended and said, on offense, we don't need the wide receivers. While everybody else said that Corey Davis had a bad end of the season, he dropped passes. The Titans said, no, it wasn't about the drop passes or anything like that. It was everything else that went wrong. So
Ryan, from a standpoint, I mean, I get it. You're an offensive line guy, right? I mean, you're like, okay, Dylan Radins, ridiculous last name, but good pick, right? Good value pick. Now, looking back in hindsight, we have traded 85, and we get the Green Bay Packers number 92 and number 135, but we lost out on another wide receiver, another playmaker. What is this team's? What are they doing?
So I'm not going to take back what I've said because I still, whatever. But Spencer Brown is still there, and he's my 3rd round darling that I liked at tackle this entire time. He's still there to be picked at one of these 2 picks. He's the best tackle available probably right now. It makes you think that you wish you would have taken something else, addressed another need early, done something different, because this is just it didn't help, though, that the 3 picks before the Cowboys dropped the way they did. And I think that had a little bit to do with it, especially the 2 top tight ends coming off the board. So maybe the Titans were thinking, well, the guys we like are going to be there at 92 and 100. We're going to have something within 8 picks of each other that we can get 2 guys we really like. They're going to be valued about the same for us. So they're trading back. Who knows what they picked up? I'd be interested to see that. And then where they get, if that's another pick this year, if they pick something else up there. I have no idea what they're going to do now at this point. I mean, there's some of those receivers we talked about earlier are still there. So the possibility they could still be there at 92. We'll find out in just a minute the way this draft's going.
Well, let me say this. I just tweeted out. I took the quote tweet of the broadcast, and I said, why? The Titans traded back? I ask my inner self as I drift into an abysmal black hole despair where only Fallout Boy plays. It actually says Fallout Noy, which could be good because, I wish we would have got Kyle Van Noy. But we lost out on Amari Rodgers. We've lost out on Hunter Long. We've lost out on Tommy Trimble. I mean, what is on this offense, Jonathan, that I'm not seeing?
I at this point, you have to believe that they're okay rolling in, going with 2 wide receivers, and rolling in Anthony Ferkser in the slot. I'm not exactly sure. If I'm being an optimist right here, if I'm being a complete optimist, the one thing we don't talk about is what they think they have in Darrington Evans. Is he a guy that they can use as kind of an H-back and move him around, play him in the slot as a receiver? For me, that's their best case scenario. That said, trading back to 92, what this tells me is that they don't think slot receiver is necessarily their biggest issue. Because if they did, then I think you would have gone with Amari Rodgers, who is arguably the most ready slot receiver in the entire draft. He's just strictly, that's his role. So I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing, but for me, it's a little telling that they passed on Amari Rodgers.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, and this may seem a little insensitive because of it is 2021, but I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Do I need to drop off this stream?
No. Listen, I'm going to ask this.
Well.
You guys have kids. You
Yep.
guys have families. Now, today is Mike's son's birthday, and he has now missed the most important string of selections and then the most important trade of Tennessee Titans history. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Do you think that having children outweighs draft coverage?
I mean, that's a dumb question. Of course, draft coverage is more important. I'm kidding. Love my kids. Wouldn't trade them. They always, for me, are going to come first. So if I had the emergency right now, if I had something to do.
Now, listen, Ryan, you're just on video shoving your daughter away from the camera during draft coverage.
I thought it was a ghost. I had no clue. It was just this face you saw with my headphones on. I didn't hear her come in the room. It startled me. So plus it was past her bedtime. She should have been in bed. I'm not sure what she was doing up. So, but yeah.
So you are so detached from your children, you thought you had ghosts in your house. Boren, you have many children. What do you think? Draft coverage or children?
I only have one that I claim. So let me put on the best answer I can here. My son is possibly the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. I love my son to death, but he is here 365 days a year. The draft's only 3 days a year. So, of course, I'm here for draft coverage.
Yeah. I mean, you're here. Hey, congratulations to us. We've received 100 messages today with Restream Chat. So I just want to throw it out there. I just saw that. It's the first time I've ever seen that. I just want to throw it out there.
Congratulations to the viewers.
We did it.
Love it.
We all did it. This is a group effort here. Okay, Ferkser in the slot, obviously, right? I am sure we're approaching on 10 p.m. I'm sure my wife is tired of hearing me yell into this thing. But Ferkser in the slot, Ferkser in the slot. I mean, is that what they're going to roll with? Surely not, right? I mean, I think we can all agree. Surely this is not the right thing. Ryan, I mean, put me at ease, right?
Well, what else does Ferkser do for you? I mean, honest question. What else is he there on the team? He's a third down guy. He's going to roll out there. They say I'm more inclined to agree with Jonathan. They're comfortable with Reynolds being their number 2 and then rolling Ferkser out there when they need him in third down situations or if they want to go spread. And if they're still going to spread out with some of their tight ends and run them in last game, kind of how he would motion in and out for plays like that. I think they're standing pat with what they've got, and we'll see what they do with these next 2 picks. But maybe they wanted to get a more dynamic tight end to help out, but those 2 guys went off the board and it just kind of crushes. You got to have to, unfortunately, sometimes the board falls the way you're not used to. So yeah, but Ferkser, what else does he do for you on this team? He's not a blocking tight end. He's got to be a slot tight end because that's what he does.
I mean, Boren. I mean, okay, so where do we go from here? This is the first really okay. Like I hated the Isaiah Wilson move, right? Wasn't a big fan of Kevin Dodd. But there's a big span between Kevin Dodd and Isaiah Wilson that makes you forget that Kevin Dodd even happens sometimes. Because you also got Derrick Henry in that draft. I mean, it can make you forget, right? And maybe that's the problem. It shouldn't make you forget. You trade back at this point when you could have had Amari Rodgers. What was Diami Brown that much difference than Amari Rodgers? I don't get it. I mean, is this if we look back on it in 1 year, is this the defining move of the J-Rob legacy right here, right now? TMZ right here. Sensationalized headline.
This move, I can't say this move, but I have been saying that while J-Rob and Vrabel are not on the hot seat, they're a lot closer to it than a lot of people like to think. They're one bad season away, like actually bad season, and I think the dominoes are set up for that to fall and that to happen. So I don't know if this is one move, but there does seem to be a little bit of arrogance for what this team is to how they're drafting. And for me, I'm just not. Look, and I see the comment. They like Reynolds a lot more than you guys. I agree. I've been saying that. They very clearly like Josh Reynolds more than we do. That doesn't make me feel any better about the move. And I like Josh Reynolds, but I think having him as a supplemental number 3 is a great option, even if you had somebody to go with them. And I like Cam. Trust me, I was all about Bat season. I love the way that Cameron Batson plays the game. The thing about Cameron Batson is physics are physics, and you're not changing them. He is a 5'7" wide receiver. Things happen in the NFL. So I'm sorry, I'm not relying on him as my number 3. If you're relying on Anthony Fertzer as your number 3 wide receiver, cool. He's a bigger version of Adam Humphries. That I don't necessarily hate. But then your number 1 tight end is Jeff Swain. So at some point, you got to figure something out on what is your identity on offense.
Well, I have to say this. Maybe hot seat is a little too extreme, but I'm not liking moving back this far when you need offensive playmakers, when offensive playmakers are coming off the board. And, I see people questioning, I tweeted, does this trade back move J-Rob closer to the hot seat? Just closer. I'm not saying that he ever was, but does it move it closer if it fails on its face? And Luke Worsham, he does the question mark reply. This is coming from A to Z, which sensationalizes everything that J-Rob does for their own thing. But I think this is the pivotal point. We're talking about Isaiah Wilson. We are talking about Kevin Dodd. And now a trade back when playmakers are on the board. This is a pivotal moment. We have to hit this draft. Everybody has said it. Everybody has said... I don't know everybody has said that this draft is important, right? This draft is an important draft for J-Rob. After Isaiah Wilson, this draft has to matter. After Christian Fulton never played a full season, after Darrington Evans never played a full season, this draft matters. Now that I suggest that a trade back could move him closer, because I've never said that he's on the hot seat, move him closer to the hot seat. Now I'm getting questioned. If these next 2 picks don't pan out, you have to start questioning why and Diami Brown did. Don't you have to start questioning a little bit? I think there's a point where you have to question some. And I don't think you have to sensationalize everything. Maybe I did. Maybe I sensationalized a little bit. But, whatever. Ryan, this trade... at this late in the game of John Robinson's tenure, important, not important, or just semi-important?
Well, let's see what they get with these 2 picks that are close. I've always said that 85 to 100, they're going to have some guys that are in the same range between those 2 picks, depending on how the boards fall. And I'm guaranteeing, in one of those 5 picks before 85, one of their guys that they were really wanting there got picked. So they said, we've got this other group of guys. We've got 4 group of guys here. 2 of them are going to be there at 92 and 100. Let's fall back and see if we can get one of those guys that they're averaging. But we talked about it earlier in the week. We've seen all reports that they have their board, they have their guys, they've done their due diligence. Let's see who they get. And Andrew had a great point in the comment. If Caleb Farley turns out to be what he could be with no injury, he's a Pro Bowler. But if that falls flat on your face and he never plays and he's injured the entire time, the rest of this draft is very blah. And it's looking like you had a chance to get playmakers in the 2nd round at this 85th pick. Then you have to start questioning things. But those are all future questions that have to be answered. So I can't say that it's detrimental at this point until we see the results. And unfortunately, that you can't jump too far out of the plane while you've got this going on. You kind of have to see what they're going to do with him here.
I'm not saying, technically that he's on the hot seat or anything. Let's clarify that doesn't move it forward if it doesn't pan out. I mean, that's the whole point, right? If this doesn't pan out in year one, in this year of the draft trade, boring. I mean, he traded back, and let's say that Diami Brown or whatever goes off for a crazy amount of yardage. He didn't trade up; he just sat there, and then he traded back. What do you think about this trade?
So I see a lot of comments coming in talking about the value of the trade back. And while when you're talking about playing the draft, I do think picking up a 4th round pick for trading back 7 spots in theory is a good value. The problem is that at some point you have to actually draft players and those have to pan out. You can't just keep trading back and say, hey, we traded back 7 picks and therefore great, that was awesome. And if you don't get a good player out of that, it's all moot. It doesn't matter. So go back to the first round. You look at what the Dolphins did. They got a lot of value for trading back from their pick. But if Tua Tagovailoa does not pan out and they passed on those quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. So you have to actually get value out of your trade back. So for this, it's an easy transition to say, yeah, I'm trading back, which means I'm not getting an Amari Rodgers in that 3rd round. So if Amari Rodgers goes off and you don't get him, then no, it is absolutely not a great trade back. It is not good value. So you better be sure that what you're going to get at 92 is worth it.
Right. And that's the whole point. Does it move him closer to the hot seat? It's not that, he's on the hot seat, but I mean, you look at Kevin Dodd, you look at Isaiah Wilson, you look at all these draft picks that everybody wants to complain about, and I have complained about. If this draft trade does not work out, then fuck yes, it does move him closer to the hot seat. That's how life works. It's not that, Kevin Dodd was so long ago, or Isaiah Wilson was so long ago, by these trades don't pan out. That's a multitude of bad decisions can move you back. And that is the point of the question. If this does not pan out, does that move him to closer to the hot seat? And of course it does, right? I mean, can we all agree on at least on that?
Yeah,
I know
sure.
there's
we've said that, as Jonathan's pointed out, that we've said that he's there one bad season
right
away from having more questions, because you've had two great seasons in a row as far as regular season goes for Titan standards. It's been fun to be a fan and to cover the team and watch, but then they've had disappointing times in the playoffs. It's clear that they are not the upper echelon. They're missing pieces. So I get your point. You go into a draft and you need to add those pieces that can be those bridges forward while you have this window open, because Derrick Henry is as a freak of nature as he isn't going to be that forever. It's just not possible with running backs. They have a shorter window. You have to try now. So I get what you're saying. There's no way to tell which receiver of this bunch here is going to be better. I can say that the ones we're taking the first round will be better than these guys, but the ones right here, who knows? It's kind of even more of a crapshoot. So maybe they just like a guy better for what they're planning and what they've talked about their offense. Because that's the thing too. It's a new OC that may be putting a new stamp. He may have some input here saying, hey, I'd rather do this with our offense. We're going to change up some things. Maybe they're going back to a wing T or something. They need to get some more running backs. I don't know.
Hey, I need to say one thing here. Andrew Hardaway, one, I want to applaud you. You have been here the whole time. You have been an active commenter this entire time. And one, I know that your comment here is a little bit hyperbolic, talking about Andy Reid lost the Super Bowl, so he moves closer to the hot seat. Technically, you are correct. That is exactly the point that Zach is making. The other thing I would contend with there from Andy Reid is he also won one. And I do think at some point, the expectation level, that bar that we are raising, that we have for this team here in Nashville, has to start rising. And it can't just be, hey, this team used to be really, really bad. J-Rob moved it forward, but there still has to be that next level to move it to.
Right.
That's the expectation.
It's all a good thing. Like, maybe everybody else's expectations are, okay, well, we got draft value and we'll pick up a few guys for depth on the roster. But it's not a depth on the roster team in a Super Bowl window. There are obvious holes still. As we approach the end of the 3rd round, there are obvious holes. So, to me, I just have higher expectations. And this, I'm a big Caleb Farley guy. Dilla Radins, great last name, horrible spelling for the last name, but a cool last name. But now you got to hope that you get the playmakers, right? I mean, this is the whole thing. You have to get the playmakers.
I'm really curious that Ryan just got shot or something.
No, I just saw the Houston pick.
Oh,
let's announce it.
Yeah, go ahead and announce it.
Michigan.
That's why you don't trade back. I'm not at this late in the game. You should not trade back, but we'll see. So that leaves
Amon St. Brown.
Wow.
It leaves Amon-Ra St. Brown.
K.
Johnson. I've been calling that one.
You have, but hey. It was too early for me to question how this trade was going to work out, right? Looking at it now, on top of that, Nico Collins is gone. I don't think that really improves the Houston Texans, but that hurts the Tennessee Titans really bad. Let's talk about right now, Ryan. Tell me right now what the Tennessee Titans can find in Amon-Ra St. Brown, because that's who we need, right?
He's the name that jumps off if you look through here, but again, there's some guys above him that could also make sense. And Tylan Wallace, the longer Schwartz is there, the better he's looking, even though I don't love it, because at least he'll do one thing. He'll burn people. So, I mean, that's something you desperately need the way this offense is now. I get it. I don't love the player. And trust me, I had to watch a lot of Auburn, but I'm telling you right now, he can hit some of those gadget plays. He does more than one thing vertically. I think there was a mention that earlier. He does more than just run vertical routes. He also runs screens well. He runs ins and rounds well, and he can come across the field, and he's not afraid to make a catch. So there's some names here I could talk myself into eventually, depending on how the Titans use them, and that's what we just don't know yet.
Well, let me just add on, because talking about Schwartz, and the reason is Schwartz ever going to be a number one wide receiver? No. He may never be a number two, but the one thing I will say is, even if he has to be a number two, I've been preaching it in this window that the Titans have built around a running back frankly, a running back is still a short shelf life. I know Derrick Henry's a freak, but it's still a short shelf life. That is a blessed position as a number two wide receiver for the Titans. And same thing, the reason years ago I was preaching Mike Williams over Corey Davis is because ultimately, take everything else out, he does something that the others do not do. He is elite in one category, and Schwartz has that in speed, which is something the Titans are missing. I would not hate the pick.
Yeah, but can he catch? Can he run routes? I mean, I agree with Nick. This is brutal. This is brutal after such a solid start to day one. Day two right now is trending towards a D-. I mean, I know we still have 2 picks. This is not great. This is not a great start. I mean, are you guys as confident in this team as you were when the day started?
I saw Max asked a question. He said, are the Titans closer to Super Bowl than they were yesterday? And I would argue yes, because 0.0001% is still closer, and they are at least adding bodies, which they desperately needed to fill out a roster. So yes, maybe, but no, it's just, I don't get a great feeling based on what's happened, and it's very much kind of like you're kind of sick at your stomach a little bit. I don't want to throw up on air or anything. It's not that bad, but it's definitely some questions, and you don't ever want that when you're talking about an NFL team building a roster, doing these things, is having questions and saying, we'll see. And that's what I've been saying all night, and I'm realizing that's not a way to be in this day and age in the NFL. Is we'll see.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, telling people in today's day and age in a digital world, hey, we'll see. I mean, that's not really what anybody wants to hear, and especially when there's millions of dollars on the lines and the championship itself on the line. And I'm looking at this. Oh my God! Thank you, God. Oh, thank you, God. Browns.
Nice. Look at his jacket.
Oh, the Browns selected Anthony Schwartz. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Browns, so much for selecting Anthony Schwartz. Oh, my God. So the Tennessee Titans are on the clock, and we are going to bring in the audio here shortly so you guys can all hear the pick as the way we do, and we can all react together. But thank God Anthony Schwartz is gone. Now it comes down to, are they going to reach for Cornell Powell in the 3rd round? That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. go around the board. We got Cornell Powell, Tylen Wallace. We have Brevin Jordan, Rashad Weaver, and Ronnie Perkins is still out there, actually. So let's talk about that. Round the horn, Jonathan Bourne, who are you going to select? You're not on.
I know. I wasn't saying anything. I'm not. I don't know. They could go a ton of different ways here, and I mean that in an unfortunate manner. I wouldn't be shocked if they went with somebody like a Jabril Cox out of LSU with an inside linebacker pick, an athletic dude who can get in there and give you some depth, play a couple of different positions. They were tied to JOK for out of Notre Dame. He's kind of a B level. And I see Cade Johnson coming in here. I've been preaching it. I think there's a lot of things that match up for him moving forward with what J-Rob looks for. It would not shock me there, but I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. They haven't really shown me what their plan is.
Pick us in. I know what they'll do. They're going to pick Dylan Moses so they can replace another Bama linebacker who underperformed in the NFL. I'm joking. Don't kill me. I'm joking.
Okay, come on. Who do you got?
I'm really hoping it's Amon-Ra St. Brown at this point. It's something that can balance out there as the number 2 and be a threat outside of A.J. Brown and can win the 50-50 balls. I'll bring the audio in.
With the 92nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Monty Rice, linebacker, Georgia.
I called the position, right?
How's that? Hey, when you look at it, what's the temperature of the hot seat right now? For everybody out there that questioned my tweet, Monty Rice, how you feeling?
Let's see what the experts thinks here. We'll bring that down after a second.
It got better as his career went along. The ability to finish plays, good tackler in the open field, has the athletic ability to range as well, and the ability in coverage in that backfield as well as play in coverage and help get in the third down situation. I thought he was a guy borderline day 2, day 3 type of guy, but certainly I think can fight his way onto an NFL roster in Tennessee.
All right.
Maybe even be a starter.
Okay. It's they definitely need
can I throw my microphone through the window and still be able to sell the house for what I originally sold it for? Because I'm in the middle of selling it. Because I don't want to damage the house and then ruin the deal. Because this is a fucking stupid pick. No. In the 3rd round, Monty Rice out of Georgia, a linebacker. Give me a fucking break. This is why they should not have traded down and taken Nico Collins or another wide receiver. Or hell, you should have taken Amon-Ra St. Brown right here, even though I don't think that he would have panned out. But hell, I would have taken him over Monty fucking Rice. Are you kidding? Give me a break. Yeah, Jonathan Bourne, or no, here. Ryan Watson, talk me off the ledge. You're the more sensible one.
Well, I can't because I think even my sensible is gone at this point because I think after just reading a little line here on him as well and I saw Superhorn's going to love this. It's another linebacker who sometimes takes false steps and false reads and doesn't react right away. Oh, he's going to love breaking that down at some point in time. Goodness gracious. This screams special teams help in the 3rd round. I got nothing. I can't talk you off the
I can't wait till company man Mike Miracles comes in here and tries to talk us into Monty Rice.
Man, let me just say, again, the Homer in the bushes .gif. Yeah, I see you, Andrew. All right, so look, my thing is just have a vision. Show me where you are going. Oh, Monty Rice is David Long. Awesome.
Oh, I didn't really mean to get that one. I meant to get this one.
I don't care. Monty Rice is David Long. That's fine. Awesome. They already got David Long, which means he's going to ride the bench behind Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown half the season. So have a vision of where you want to take a team. That is the biggest thing that you can say. And right now, I am not seeing a vision where they are trying to take this team. What are they trying to build? What is the strategy here? They took a team that was top 5 in offense in the 2021 NFL season. You're looking at this. This is not 1995. This is not 2005. This isn't even 2015. I know what happened in the Super Bowl, but the offenses are the way you have to get there. You have to have the offense. So to say I'm just going to detract from that, I don't know. I can't get on board with that.
Well, here's what they're doing. They're
Oh,
clearly
and listen, hold on. This is very important. This is a huge red flag because we talked about Isaiah Wilson not having red flags, but
Does
it
he have a
turns
red
out,
tape? Does he have a red tape?
listen, not having red flags, but we found out that agents turned him away or he tried to play the agent game. Monty Rice is already on his third agent before the draft. His third agent. Red flags galore. Holy crap. What is Georgia? How much is Georgia paying John Robinson to ignore red flags? Give me a break. Hey, listen, Robert Greenlaw, this is embarrassing. Monty Rice is David Long and was not a compliment redundant player. Okay, get that.
We understood. I think that's what Jonathan was agreeing.
What's J-Rob thinking? This is complete trash. And remember, I just got roasted for the trade back saying this would move him closer to the hot seat.
I'm more with you.
Could it move it closer to the hot seat? And
what
it
I
did.
said was, let's see what they do with it. They trashed with it. I mean, the only thing I think of now is they're trying to recover. They liked him. They've already got a package and agreed to in terms or whatever with the Atlanta Falcons to bring Julio Jones in, with Rashawn Evans being jettisoned to Atlanta and something else. I don't know what they're going to do there. That's the only thing I can really talk myself into at this point in time, because I'm with you in your analysis, because I said, let's see what they do. I hate it.
Here's the thing.
There's red flags out of Georgia. Even
Kenny, I
from the
can't
draft
explain
network.
it. No, I can't explain it, Kenny.
Here's the thing that I don't get. When you talk about, are they better than they were before the draft? Do I think that those positions could potentially be improvements, even going all the way back to the first round pick? Yes, absolutely, they could be improvements. Do I think they are closer to a Super Bowl? Even if they pan out, if all three picks pan out, I'm not sure they're any closer to a Super Bowl. And I honestly believe that, just because I don't necessarily believe the improvements from what they had at any of those positions are exponentially better.
I mean, listen, we could be freezing cold takes out of our ass right now. There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to come back to this live stream and say, oh, well, Monty Rice played this, this huge important part in a sack in the Super Bowl. Hey, listen, I'll be happy to be wrong, but you're not going to tell me that drafting a linebacker out of Georgia that has the red flags that he has, that should have been a 6th round pick in the 3rd round, was the way to go. And you trade back and decide to say, hey, I know we don't have a real wide receiver 3 or a backup wide receiver 2. So let's draft this, special teams linebacker because we fucking feel like it, and we're idiots. That's what I feel like is going on in the Tennessee Titans headquarters, and this is why a trade back was stupid. Anybody want to calm me down after that? I mean, it seems like you guys agree.
To lie to you? You mean to pat you on the back and say, "Okay, be okay, buddy"? Because I'm with you. This is head scratching at the very least. And now with this 100th pick, they're going to do something like take an interior offensive lineman, which again is a need, but it doesn't help the other needs that are more important.
I mean, I have to agree with Chris here. I mean, Kirby Smart obviously has some J-Rob nudes, right? I mean, like, he obviously has naked pictures of maybe he has maybe he's curled up with a shark like Will Muschamp is. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But this is freaking ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't make any sense how you draft. How do you step in the same shit twice in a row? It's like you're dog shit in a porch and you're like, hey, I'm going to step in this dog shit today. Oh, fuck, I stepped in dog shit. Oh, the next day, you're still stepping in the same dog shit. And I mean, give me a break. Like, don't we have to question now that J-Rob maybe what is going on here? Like, I don't know what to question, but I just know that something is not right.
Well, they like their guys. They did their due diligence. They have to answer to this. So they better be right. They better have a plan. This next 100th pick better be something that can help in one of these pieces, be it tight end or depth edge. I'd take at this point because receiver. I'm just convinced they're not taking receiver. They're perfectly fine with Josh Reynolds being the number 2, and we're moving on. I'm sold. I'm not sold on it. I'm sold. That's what they think.
I mean, what do you think about this? I think this is the first time that we're seeing them panic in the war room. I mean, panic may be a strong word, but I think that the Isaiah Wilson pick was not a great pick, and I'll keep going back to that to the day I die, because I said right after the pick that it was a reach, and you don't draft projects in the first round, right?
Mm-hmm. You did.
You don't draft Monty Rice here in the third round after trading back. I mean, I get it. You got an extra fourth round pick, but was it worth it? Would you rather have Amari Rodgers or rather have a Monty Rice?
Well, and even just that, I don't even think that Monty Rice was the best inside linebacker on the board. I think that was Jabril Cox, and
I
that's
joked about Dylan Moses, but I would have taken him too.
Yeah. Hey, to be honest, I'd take Dylan Moses over Monty Rice.
Hey, if Monty Rice does lose his damn mind, and we're looking back and a bunch of people are saying there's no way we could have seen the red flags like it happened with Isaiah Wilson, literally there are red flags. So let's just go ahead and bookmark that of 3 agents already.
Well, I'll say this. I bet half the people that questioned my question about the firing, or if he's moving closer to the hot seat, I bet most of them, if not all of them, are saying that he's on the hot seat, fire J-Rob. I mean,
Zach,
give me a break.
Zach, you've come a long way in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous. Here, time for the old hashtag fire J-Rob. And we got J-Robbed right here. I know it's the same person, but, you know, anybody but who we got. And I'm with Jesse Jones here on Facebook. Anybody but who we got. I mean, Monty freaking Rice. I mean, we could have had Rashad Weaver. We could have had Brevin Jordan. We could have Ronnie Perkins, Chris Rump. You know, we could have had Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't even listen. I've been in such a black hole of despair. I don't even know what's happened up on the draft screen. I don't know who's been drafted or anything. I need an updated draft order somewhere. But we're coming up in a couple more picks. Even if they draft Amon-Ra St. Brown, even if he's still there, this does not make up for the Monty Rice pick. I don't care what you say. I don't care if Mike Miracles comes in here and he says some stupid bullshit that says, oh, well, you know, just a few picks later, you just flip-flop the picks. No, you flip-flop Monty Rice with whatever your 6th round pick was. Utterly ridiculous pick. And listen, I hope to God that someday this will be on ESPN or TMZ or whatever is going to be going on in the future. And someone uses this as a freezing cold take. I hope to God, really, that someone is able to use this cold take, because I want as a Titans fan, Monty Rice to succeed. But this was a horrible value and a horrible pick in the 3rd round after trading back and losing out on playmaker after playmaker after playmaker after playmaker.
Calm down.
I feel good. I feel good.
Down.
A little bit. I feel good a little bit. I mean, it's just. I don't know what to do anymore with this team, and you know, this is insane. It's just insane. I mean, okay, let's look at it right here. Two Tone Takes just tweeted on Twitter, and he's a really good follow for if you're into really betting and everything. Why everyone's so mad? You guys do know that Jayon is a 1-year deal, and that Rashaan Evans is Rashaan Evans, right? Yeah, I know that. I personally know that, but you still have other needs to fill that matter. That's the point. Is like, this pick doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. Unless there is Rashaan Evans on a trade that's about to go down that we're not aware of, which is very possible, right? I mean, Rashaan Evans at any point could be traded and we could pick up an extra for it. Does that really make me feel any better about the inside linebacker position? No, not really. It actually makes me feel worse. But I don't know. Maybe there's a defensive back, you know, or there's a wide receiver that we can get with this extra pick. Let's talk hypotheticals. Ryan, if we were to trade Rashaan Evans tonight and pick up an extra 3rd or extra 4th for tomorrow, how does it make you feel about the Monty Rice pick that is 3 rounds higher than it should be?
not great because like Bourne said, there was better linebackers on the board. So if that was your plan, you had better value that you could have taken, and you still probably could have had Monty Rice in the 4th round. So you could have taken 2 other players with higher grades with these 2 picks. So if that's the end result and it jettisons Rashad Evans to something else, if he goes more to edge or whatever, maybe that's their answer at edge depth is Rashad Evans is going to go down there now. I don't know. I still don't feel great about it because the player himself could have been had later if that's your target, in my opinion. Maybe they're hitting the panic button and enough of their other guys went off the board right before they were picking. And they didn't want to lose another one of their guys. It's just a head scratcher because I think that you could have had him at 100 and taken a better value at 92.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Maybe they could have gotten him at 100. I don't like to play the game of, they could have gotten him around later because there could be other teams that like him. I will say Monty Rice, comparing him to Rennie Curran, there's a lot of parallels there at Georgia, linebacker, but he is about 3 feet taller than Rennie Curran, so he does have that going for him. The other thing, though, I will say, if you're going to take an inside linebacker, I have been preaching, especially when the Titans were tied to Zaven Collins coming out, is if you're going to take an inside linebacker, take an athletic one. In today's NFL, that's what you need. And that's really frankly the part where I think they went wrong with Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans would be a great linebacker 25 years ago. He just doesn't fit in today's NFL as an inside linebacker. Monty Rice at least is an athletic inside linebacker. He does fit that mold. So if you're taking him with the thought that he could turn into a Devin Bush kind of player, I'm not saying he is.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I see
it's
the
just,
face. I am not saying
it's
he
still,
is. I do not.
It's just a hard thing to wrap your head around.
Yeah, sure. But here's the thing. If you put my tape out there, I physically cannot do those kinds of things. He at least has the physical capacity to do those kinds of things. So in that sense, I can see that. I like that they're doing that. They're not just saying, hey, this guy stopped a lot of runs, had some good instincts to run through the gap, read the run. He's unafraid to go up there and make the tackle, but also he runs a 4.8 kind of thing. So this guy is an athletic inside linebacker. He has that for him. So I do like the recognition of understanding, cool, this may be where we erred with the Rashaan Evans pick. So if you're looking for a silver lining, there's that. I still think I would have gone with a different route, and there are definitely bigger needs.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're a Super Bowl team and you're looking at John Robinson versus Rustin Webster, and you're looking at this team and you say, well, hopefully Monty Rice ends up better than Rennie Curran. That's not how you want to compare and promote a Super Bowl team. And I appreciate Andrew Hardaway, like you said, has been here the whole time. But that's not the bar. The bar should be, is Monty Rice as good as Darius Leonard? Is Monty Rice at least the floor of good Rashaan Evans? Like that, when you're in the Super Bowl window, is what you should be at. And right now, you have to say no. I mean, you're talking about
I'll disagree with you there.
Okay,
I will disagree with you.
Let's go.
Because I will say Darius Leonard is an anomaly. Darius Leonard was a great pick that was just completely crapped on when it happened, when the Colts took him. I am big on do not compare players to the anomalies. You know what you're hoping for from a 3rd round pick there. My biggest issue with Monty Rice, again, the same issue I have with Dylan Radins, is it's the value of building a roster. And this is a player that's coming in year 1. And if you're trying to get to a Super Bowl, he's your number 4 inside linebacker.
Now
That's
listen,
the biggest problem.
And maybe I misspoke or it didn't come across. I am just saying aim higher than better than Rennie Curran. You want to aim higher with your picks in round 3. I mean, at the very least, round 4 is kind of like that middle road, right? Are they going to start? Are they not going to start? But to me, round 3 and higher, they need to be day in, day out, week after week, role players of some sort, whether they're only playing 10 snaps on defense, but they're important snaps or whatever. They have to do something. And if you're drafting Monty Rice because you wish you had better special team position, then you're drafting wrong, in my opinion. And to put him up against Rennie Curran, Like, I get it. Georgia linebacker, undersized, all this stuff. I get it.
Well, how bad is Trevor Jordan? Good grief.
I don't like us saying that, hey, it's got to be better than a guy that flamed out years ago. I mean, I am just not in on Monty Rice. He's a different kind of bad linebacker than Rashaan Evans, right? I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't think he's the replacement that you want. And I don't think that next year, if you're going into this Titans defense, that you want Monty Rice, David Long as your premier linebackers, which is way it's looking like, because you didn't renew Rashaan Evans' fifth-year option. You didn't give Jayon Brown a long-term extension. Well, granted, it may not end up that way.
Yeah, that's just kind of what you want to know why it's not going to end up that way, because you're getting an inside linebacker in the first round next year.
Well, that's not better. I mean,
no,
why are you doing this to us?
And this year, let's take a look at the draft real quick. Just play out a scenario too, because you look at it. Farley, we all agree if he hits, great pick, right? Great value. Let's pretend maybe that something happens, he doesn't play, or he's not the starter for whatever reason. So now your first round pick's not your starter. You're already telling me the tackle needs development that you took in the second round, and he may not be the starter right away. He may not develop into the starter either. You're kind of taking a chance there as well. So now your second round pick may not be a starter this year in your draft. So, and then now your third rounder is going to be sitting back behind other linebackers, depending on what they do with Rashaan Evans. And now you're telling me your first three picks may all be backups this year and not contributing.
I mean, isn't that kind of ridiculous? And now we saw that Trey McKitty just went off the board, another Georgia tight end, but a tight end nonetheless. You know, I was a big fan of Trey McKitty because I think he was underutilized. But Brevin Jordan is still out there. Are we going to end the night with Monty Rice and Brevin Jordan? Is that what is trending? Is that we are going to end the night with an overrated linebacker by the Tennessee Titans big board, and now probably one of the least athletic tight ends? And listen, Orlando Brown had a horrible pro day and all that kind of stuff. But when you're a tight end, that matters. Are we going to end the draft with probably the two biggest question marks on day? Really, three big question marks on day 2? Is that what you're seeing, Jonathan Board? Is that what you're predicting?
And I said they had to come out. They, in my opinion, needed to come out with cornerback, wide receiver. I said in the top 3 picks. Right now, it looks like they may not have those two in the top 4. Cornerback going, early. And I believe in Caleb Farley. I think that was a great pick. But it's one position, and cornerbacks do not carry teams. See Jalen Ramsey. I mean, it's a situation where you've got to build the team, and I don't know you're getting that kind of value at this point. So I think you're leaving this, and maybe they have something in their back pocket with a 2022 pick to get Julio Jones. Maybe they have something already done there, and that's the reason they're downplaying the need at wide receiver. If that's the case, it does change my perception of how they've been drafting, because that's not something you would have announced at this point, because it's 2022 picks, it's 2022 transactions. So, but this is not something you get excited about.
I mean, Ryan, you are one of the most positive, nice people that I've ever met virtually and or in person.
Oh,
is there anything positive? I mean, should I wait to ask for your positivity until after pick 100? But is there anything positive if the Titans walked away tonight with Dylan Radins, who misspells his name, with Brevin Jordan at pick 100, and with Monty Rice at 92 or whatever it was that we wasted that pick on? Is there anything you can make that is positive other than that, hey, we got Caleb Farley?
Well, we knew we had Caleb Farley last night, or the Titans had Caleb Farley last night. So, I mean, there's nothing positive about this day 2. If they end up with, I'm not sure if there's a player that's going to turn this around for me with this 100th pick, unless it's announced that it's a part of a trade and it's going to be something interesting and can really make a difference for 2021. There's nothing. I don't think there's a thing that can be here that can really change into the positive person that you're saying I am. Because man, I don't know. Jesse, I agree. It's tough. It's tough to see a path out to positivity at this point. Brevin Jordan, because there's a thing, he can't block, or he hasn't shown that he can. I just don't. There's a lot to not like about him. So if they end up with him, what are you doing? I mean, I question some of the offseason moves and letting some people walk away if that's the case.
It's just tough. I mean, we're sitting here. We're going to be the next pick on the board. The Dallas Cowboys are taking cornerback Nashawn Wright, whoever that is.
Oregon State.
Yeah. So here we are. We still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Does Amon-Ra St. Brown, does it, wash away the taste of Monty Rice for you guys? Jonathan Warren, we'll start with you.
I would say I think that is the best of a bad situation is probably the best way to shape it up. Now, does he do anything that is absolutely spectacular? No. But is he a guy that can come in and be serviceable? Yes. Is he better than probably Cam Batson is? Yes. So if it's me, I don't hate the pick. I don't. But no, I mean, one pick doesn't make up for another. We've been playing this game with John Robinson for years where, the first round pick was this, but look what he got in the second round. Well, imagine if he got something good in the first round too. So one doesn't make the other one better.
Right.
Okay. When the Titans pick is in,
it's in.
It's in.
I'm waiting to see someone walk up the stage because I guess one of the receivers would help me out a little bit here. Tylan Wallace.
Let me say this. Spoiler alert, this was not a good night for Titans fans, in my opinion. This is something. It's quite something.
You already know the pick?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But we'll let it roll.
Spoil in the chat. I want to be surprised with my offer.
We will be bringing the audio live here in the stream.
I'm at a commercial right now, so.
But hey, trade backs, am I right? Don't
trade backs, am I right?
I mean, God, this fourth round has to be killer tomorrow. I mean, like,
imagine thinking that your fourth round has to be killer. What are you
talking about? The third round was killer. I mean, I was to ask for the fourth round.
Dreams. Oh. And just to fill time here, Quinn out of Whitewater, Wisconsin, kudos to him. Division III offensive lineman getting drafted. I knew he had a lot of buzz, but it's just nice to see his name called and going. It's a really good kid, and excited to see him in the NFL. I'm not going to attempt the last name, Miranez.
This is your fault.
Yeah.
This is your fault.
How's this my fault?
Not yours. He
mine.
Knows.
It's mine.
He knows.
Oh, I am. Let me say this. I am so sorry, and I apologize to all the Titans fans out there for pretty much wishing this. I guess not wishing it, but I doomed us. I doomed us all. I doomed us all. I doomed us all. I mean, there's just. I just don't know what to say. I feel so bad for those. Listen, I wouldn't be so bad about this, but yes, you should be nervous.
Oh no! Oh no!
Bad.
Over under AJ Brown targets, all the targets, Andrew, all targets. But here's the thing: teams are going to double cover him because what else? I don't know.
But hey, hey, trade backs don't put people on the hot seats. Am I right? Just throwing it out there.
If you're a Titans fan, you were all in on some conspiracy theories for that Julio Jones trade right now.
All right, I'm bringing the audio in.
the end of round 3, the Tennessee Titans have picked number 100 in this 2021 draft, and let's hear it now.
With the 100th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Elijah Molden, defensive back, Washington.
His father, Alex, was the 11th overall pick in 1996, Mel.
One of the better picks in round 3. Here's a guy, forget workout numbers, height, weight, speed, all that stuff. Sure,
Y'all listen to this. I'm going to get a beer.
top of your list. Elijah Molden, flat out play. He's a lot to me like an Asante Samuel, same thing, the great bloodlines. He's down to his father. You think about what Elijah Molden does. He understands the game. He has great anticipation and tremendous awareness and coverage, Lou.
Yeah, he's an absolute Jedi in the slot, man. I've been waiting to say that.
All right. So, yeah, it's got to be Julio, right? They're doing something for Julio, right?
I mean, unless they're trading away all their 4th-round picks for Julio. Listen, what the fuck? I mean, you guys have stayed with us this whole time. I feel like that I can cuss. What the fuck? I mean, are you kidding me? That this team, who has no legitimate wide receiver to be, like
or tight end,
to be no tight end
or tight end,
decided that hey, we are going to draft a guy that may play safety. He may play cornerback. I know that we paid Kevin Johnson $2.5 million, but hey, let's draft Caleb Farley. Let's do this. Let's do that. I mean, like, I don't even know where to begin with this stupid fucking decision. And it's like, yeah, over under on A.J. Brown targets, 158. Right. I mean, because all of them have to go to A.J. Brown because there's no one else that we could target unless we're going to target Khalif Raymond getting pussyfooted around and getting pushed down barely just because he came into contact with the defensive back in the playoffs. Because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Look,
this is ridiculous. I mean, it's so fucking ridiculous.
Ellen Bonwu. Molden's not a bad pick. He can play that slot. He can help out.
Molden is not a bad player. That does not make him a.
It just doesn't fit.
Pick.
It does one thing. It keeps Kevin Johnson farther down the depth chart.
Then keep him off the depth chart.
I mean, I guess that's the thing. If you wanted to draft 3 different like defensive players that, you know, I get it. You know, a lot of teams do it. The Cleveland Browns have drafted a lot of defensive players. And I get there's value in Elijah Molden right now because technically it could be Christian Fulton and Elijah Molden and Caleb Farley next year. Sure, that's great on paper. Then why pay $7 or $8 million for Janoris Jenkins? Why pay an additional 2.5 for Kevin Johnson? This does not make sense when you need pass catchers. You need playmakers on offense. You need it. Like maybe you don't need it. I need it. And I think that's very important. I think it's important that the fans need something to go watch other than the people stacking the box on Derrick Henry and bracketing A.J. Brown. Okay, is Josh Reynolds really going to get you 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns to make up for what defenses can do now that you don't have Corey Davis? I don't know. No Corey Davis, no Johnny Smith.
Reynolds just has to be a threat, though. I mean, that's the thing is that you're now sold that if Reynolds is your number 2 receiver coming into the season, there's no like conspiracy. They're not going to pick up Odell. They're not going to go pick up Julio or anything like that. That's the thing is that he's got to be just a pulse that's productive at some point in time to make this balance. He just has to be reliable. He doesn't have to have 1,500 yards. He doesn't have to have 17 touchdowns. He just has to be. But the problem is he hasn't done that in his career. What he needs to be, he hasn't been. He's been buried on the depth chart for the most part. He shined in spots, but that's not confidence enough that he can do it as the true number 2.
I have to say, real quick, Wayne was right. Wayne told me today, and Wayne said, this is not going to end up like you want it to. You're not going to get any offense, and you're going to fucking like it. And that's what Wayne said, and he's right.
So I see Jesse Jones in there too, saying they plan on changing DBs to wide receivers, which may seem crazy.
Hey, baby.
But how much have we heard about how much of a freak athlete Caleb Farley is, and only recently started playing DBs? That's some 4D chess. That's your wide receiver too, right there. Caleb Farley doesn't have to tackle right there. There you go. We're just not seeing the forest through the trees here. Look, Ryan said it best. Josh Reynolds has to just be a threat. The problem is that he has to just be a threat. And he ain't been a threat in his career, but you are dependent on it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at. I mean, yeah, you technically you still have Tylan Wallace, but even if you draft Cornell Powell, who is technically an outside wide receiver by all intents and purposes, are you really going to shift Josh Reynolds in the inside after you just promised him? Said, hey, Josh Reynolds, you're coming in because you're going to be our number 2 wide receiver, but we're going to push you down to the slot because we're going to draft Cornell Powell this 5th or 6th round. Who knows? They may actually trade both 4th round picks into the bottom of the 3rd to trade, get Cornell Powell. Who knows? But huge hole. I just don't get it. I don't know. I'm looking at the board. I'm looking at it all. And I'm thinking, well, this doesn't make a shit of damn sense for them to take the players that they've taken when they could have had at least an edge player instead of a linebacker. They could have had at least a tight end. They could have had a wide receiver. They could not trade it back and taken Amari Rodgers. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, I'm not a fire J-Rob guy, but he's on the fucking hot seat for me. I just look at it and I just can't do it.
Towards it. He's now squarely on.
He's getting there. I mean, like if there was a hot seat diagram and it started here and he was really cold over here and is really hot over here, he is about right here. Johnny Cash blowing a kiss or whatever he's doing back there behind me. The man in black. That's where he's at. He's almost halfway. Got to fire him. I mean, where's Company Man Mike? Because I feel like you just agree with me.
You saw the war room after the pick. The fist bumps were going around. They're happy with the selection. Tepid.
Show me the war room that says that like everybody's flicking each other off and cracking beer bottles and going Anchorman style fighting the streets. That's the war room I'm interested in.
I can't recall, but I'm sure there's been some teams that have had some questionable moments that they had some disagreements right after the pick went in. Heck, there's been reports that the coaches all agreed on a pick. Everyone was good in the room, and then the owner just says, nah, we're going with this guy.
I mean, Boren, I'm seeing looking here. Jesse Jones says there has to be a plan. I had faith before the draft, but now I have none.
That's what I've been saying. What's the plan? What is the plan? That's all it is.
I mean, are we literally going in for a top 3 defense? Is that what it is? We're just going to draft these randos, which Monty Rice is classified as a rando. I really just don't care anymore. I'm going all in on the Monty Rice hate. Welcome to the Thunderdome, Monty Rice, because I'm going to hate you for a long, long time. So here it is. Is Monty Rice even going to make this defense a top 3 defense? I mean, give me a break. I get it. He's just a kid and he can't help where he got drafted. And I feel kind of a little bit bad for him that I'm going to have to hate him for the rest of my life, but this is where we're at.
Does Monty Rice even play in 2021?
Oh my God! If he does not even make this fucking roster as a third round pick,
he'll make the roster. But is he? How many snaps is Monty Rice getting on defense in 2021?
Oh my God! I don't even know. It's very hard to look at this. This is much like the beginning of the off season, right? So when at the beginning of the off season, excuse me, and granted, we saw a little bit of a plan shake through and a little bit of method behind their madness. But they let Corey Davis go. They let Dennis Kelly go. They let Johnny Smith go. They let all these offensive players go. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, that's dumb. And then they come out and they'll say, well, Corey Davis is just a byproduct of Derrick Henry. and AJ Brown, and we think we can get Josh Reynolds to do that. Okay, well, maybe, I can talk myself into it. Then Johnny Smith happens, and, you're like, why are you getting rid of John Smith? Well, maybe he's too expensive. Okay, but couldn't you have, fudged some numbers, got this done way before offseason? Now I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I'm a big J-Rob guy. I love J-Rob. He has haircuts like I had haircuts when he was back in the day. He looks like a guy from Union City who pulled himself up and went through it all and is now general manager of franchise. And I love the story. I love that he's a local kid. And I love all of that. But don't feed me any more bullshit. I am tired of the bullshit because for right now, Monty Rice is enemy number one. But let me say it. J-Rob is enemy number one. Monty Rice is enemy number two. And I think this is a ridiculous pick. I think that the following pick has been ridiculous. And I think day one, A+. I even said I'd go easy on him and maybe not go so fanboy and go A-. I'll say this. Day 2, definitely D. It is a D.
I feel like we're getting the D.
I didn't know if Ryan was about to throw down some
I
freestyle or.
I can't put regular words together. You expect me to rap? No, it's not happening.
All right. So as we move into day 3, can we identify the needs and what the plan is moving forward?
Okay. So by my list, our needs are wide receiver, edge, tight end, wide receiver, tight end, edge.
You might have missed wide receiver. Did you say that?
I think I said it 3 times, and I believe we need 3 wide receivers at this point because the grade and the level of wide receiver that you're going to get in a day in the 4th round is now less. You have to get a couple wide receivers at this point.
Yeah, edge is definitely a need there too as well. Tight end still a need, at least for a body, unless they're just going to do something I don't think they're going to do and go 3 wides. But then if you're going to do that, then why aren't you selecting a receiver at some point in this draft? So it's just, I don't know. Filled 2 of their needs in corner and tackle tonight. Receiver, tight end still glaring. You could argue safety, edge is still glaring as well. Interior offensive line. I mean, the point is that now you have to hope that you find gems in the 4th round. That's a terrible place to be because statistically speaking, it just doesn't happen that often.
Okay, let me ask you this. And this is a good point. This is from Jack Ho or Jack Who. I don't know how you pronounce it. But, bro, this pick was mega value. 92 wasn't good, but, this pick was. And he's talking about Elijah Molden. Again, it does not make up for the fact that you fucked up 92 when you should have been taking wide receiver and tight end. Am I right? Am I wrong?
No,
and I get it. Elijah Molden's a good player, right? I get
it. It acts like they're connected. They could not have gotten Elijah Molden at 100 had they not made the sacrifice, like a ritual sacrifice of pick 92. They're not related at all.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna end it here soon, but I was hoping that Mike would come in, defend the franchise, but I see that they must have locked him in the penthouse. They must have said, hey, I know you're in the 4 seasons here in Nashville, but we're going to lock you in here and you cannot have any internet access because we know that you may go overboard and try and defend the Tennessee Titans for these dumbass picks. So I cannot wait for the podcast on Tuesday when we record. So I ask you guys, day 4, we have an extra 4th round pick that we're probably going to waste on something that we don't need because it's what we did with our 2 3rd round picks, which are of higher value, by the way. We have 1 5th round pick, 2 6th round picks, 1 7th round pick. As far as I know, I don't think that we traded any of those other picks. Today itself, how would you grade it? Start with Jonathan Borton.
I am full on. I think it's an F. Sorry. I think it's an F. I don't see a plan on what they are trying to create as a team based on what they were.
What about you, Ryan? What do you grade it?
It is an A+ for Josh Reynolds. That is the happiest dude in the Titans roster right now that he doesn't have to compete with anything right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's how do you grade it? I mean, we don't care what Josh Reynolds' feelings are. How do you grade it?
It's tough. I mean, I'm a solid D because it's just I don't think I hate to give F grades out, but because Elijah Molden doesn't push it as an F for me because there is value there. I can't ignore that. But yeah, it's at a D because you made some questionable choices. The second round pick looks worse now with what you did in the third round completely. And the fact that I would have felt better if they would have come across with any of these receivers. Now, I guess the argument is a few of them are still there. So who knows what happens with that fourth round. Tyler Shelvin would be an LSU guy. I know interior defensive line isn't high up there, but he's a name that sticks out there that could help fill that hole for Daquan Jones that is left. So there's still some guys you can get in the fourth round that could potentially come in and help. But as of today, with the future being unknown, yeah, it's a D for me.
Let me ask you both this question. How many wide receivers do they have to draft over tomorrow? How many wide receivers do they have to draft tomorrow for you to feel better about this offense? And I'm not including a tight end, but if you think that tight end should be number 3 and for this offense to be successful, throw it out there. But what does the Tennessee... Here, I'll easy it. Let me make it easy. I'm overcomplicate shit. What do the Titans
I'm over
have
here
to
trying to figure out like advanced arithmetic with what you're doing? So
what do the Titans have to do to make this offense successful tomorrow on day 3? Jonathan Bourne will come back to you. We're going to actually start with Ryan this time.
So I thought coming into this draft, they would have to pick 2 receivers throughout the draft. With that, me saying that they had to get a high round pick, like with that second round pick, if they went corner with the first round, I was hoping that second round pick was going to be a receiver. I was hoping that third round pick at 85 was going to be a receiver. So now I think you've got to, I don't want to double your efforts, but I think you definitely need 3 pass catchers, including I'm throwing a tight end to that. So you need a tight end that's balanced. It's not just a run blocker, but can block. So I think you need all 3 to be addressed for the rest of this draft somehow, some way, even if it's a body that you're hoping is going to be better than where he gets picked in these later rounds.
Boren, going to you. What do the Titans have to do to make you confident in this offense?
I mean, frankly, I don't think anything less that they can do outside of a trade after the draft is going to make me super confident. Do I think the offense is going to be terrible? No. I do think Derrick Henry is going to have some natural regression. You're going to take some picks here on day 3. Anything that you were actually expecting of them to come in and be contributors on day 1, that's just these are special teamers that if you get anything out of them, great. Then absolutely spectacular. But you can't have those expectations. If you have those expectations of day 3 picks to come in and start for you, you should have picked them a hell of a lot earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you wanted all these offensive playmakers and you wanted to be an offensive pass heavy, team, this is the time to have done it, because I don't think next year you're going to have the depth that you're looking for. And how much longer can you keep pushing back? Oh, well, next year we could do this, or next year we could do that. I'm out on this. I think today is a huge blow to the Tennessee Titans Super Bowl window. I mean, to the fan base. I mean, is this the day 2 that you want your fan base walking away from in the midst of a pandemic that is now about to open up? Where would you renew your season tickets for this team? If you were on the fringe before the pandemic and you decided, hey, I'm going to wait. I don't know if I would after seeing today. I mean, surely you got time, and surely they could do stuff tomorrow in the 4th and 5th round that changes everybody's mind. That's fine. But tonight, in the moment, as supreme time czar of this multiverse timeline, this is the moment that we're in. And right now, this is a not great draft. I mean, I would give it a D. This is a solid D. And I've tried to prolong this as much as I could to try to get, company man Mike Miracles here, but, he's a coward. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yes,
Straight up coward. And here we are. The draft is over, and I don't feel good about this team. I felt great about this team last night, and I felt, okay about this team after Dylan Radins, who misspells his name. I felt great about, I still felt good. But then, because I'm thinking, okay, well, we're going to get a wide receiver. And then Amari Rodgers up on the board. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to draft Amari Rodgers. We trade back. I don't get it. Now, tomorrow, I know that the draft starts at 11 a.m. And I think that we're pretty much at the top of the draft because of trades. We will have Mr. Lebowski hosting. I will not be on any of the live streams. And I know that means that everybody else, you'll tell your friends to come join the live streams because I'm not going to be there. So that's a good thing. Once you tell all your friends about the live stream tomorrow, we are wrapping up, but we will have Mr. Lebowski. Maybe Mike will come down from his ivory tower over at St. Thomas Sports Park. And then we'll have a couple different guests coming in. So it's a long day tomorrow. So just bear with us as we get stuff going, and we'll give you the most comprehensive draft coverage because I know that there was a little bit of sensationalism here in this chat today, in this little video today, but we gave you the best in-depth analysis. Where else can you find a former defensive backs coach, a former offensive line coach, and Mike Miracles, who works for the Titans on the DL and nobody else knows because he's paid millions of dollars to just say whatever they want him to say. But we have
that's actually impressive. Real quick, I've known a lot of guys that are big on Twitter that the Titans employ for their scouting and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Millions and millions of dollars Mike Miracles is paid. It could be NFTs. I really don't understand them, but
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Here we go. We are ending the show. Thank you for tuning in to the NFL draft coverage of Broadway Sports Media. We have appreciated you staying on with us, being patient with us as we cuss, as we give you our unadulterated, unfiltered opinion and authentic, because that's what we strive to be. We love all of our Broadway Sports Media guys, all the people that follow us, that buy subscriptions. We appreciate it. We are giving you the content that you crave, that you desire, better content. For Jonathan Borden at JB on Broad, for Ryan Watson at Ryan on Broadway, I am Zach Lyons at F Words Pod. You can listen to Coaches Corner on Wednesdays. You can listen to Football and Other F Words if you haven't already on Tuesdays. And you got MCA on Thursdays. I mean, we got all kinds of content that you want. Tune in. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us.